How's everyone doing? Welcome to the final episode of After the After Hours with your boy TraderPrad. The final day of this week is tomorrow going to be a free fall Friday. Now get ready for tomorrow. Powell going on the microphone. Powell going on the microphone again. Get ready for tomorrow. So I do have a watch list ready, but if you guys are ready, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. Started. Why don't we dive into the full screen and hit that like and subscribe. We're here. We made it. October 2-3, Wednesday. How y'all doing? It's your boy TraderPrad. It's time to talk about the markets, all things that moved around, that did not move around, that might move around, and everything else that's in the whole shebang that we like to keep an eye on. So how was your day today? Let me know how in the chat how your day went. My day, atrocious, horrible. Started off pretty decent, but turned it to the red side, sadly, going into the close. So I mean, it's okay, it's whatever. It's a write-off. We can easily come back on a nice little day tomorrow, and especially with the name that reported today after hours, wink wink nudge nudge. If you're watching me on YouTube, you already know what stock that is, because it's in the thumbnail, it's in the title, and all the other fun stuff. But yeah, looking for Tesla to pay us the big bucks tomorrow, give us the big opportunities. Looking for some of the other names in there also, as a lot of the eyes would potentially being on Tesla. Maybe some of the other names in the market might be a hidden gem. So even preparing for those opportunities that reported today, some of the news movers, some of the nuclear energy names that sold off recently. So pretty big watch list as we always do. So let's not waste any goddamn time and head over to the full screen, boys. Let's show you guys what's in store for tonight on TraderPrad's show. Obviously, starting with the names that reported today after hours, names like Tesla, Lam Research, IBM, QuantumScape. I threw Las Vegas Sands in the mix, but it didn't really do too much in the after hours. We'll see if it actually does something tomorrow pre-market or throughout the day. Some of the other stocks over here, such as Boeing, AT&T, GM, 3M, RTX, and so on. All of the earnings names that we've been keeping an eye on. Also, some of the airliners from tomorrow. AAL, LUV, SAVE, Spirit Airlines popped up today with the renegotiating the buying out acquisition conversations with Frontier, so that made SAVE go up. So some of the airliners reporting tomorrow also potentially could give us trades in the the whole sector, especially in UPS. That's a name that I'm very interested to see how it reacts to American Airlines and LUV's report. Let's see if opportunity set up on that. So these stocks obviously made the watch list along with UPS, United Parcel Service. I think that's what the company's name is. Yes, and that's what it is. United Parcel Service. All right, so at the top of the leaderboard, we have Tesla. Let me open up Benzinga here for a second. As Benzinga loads up, we're gonna quickly go take a peekaboo at Tesla's earnings move itself. So that is your Tesla's earning move. Big move to the upside, finally waking back up. It was sleeping for a little bit. If you looked at the daily chart, Tesla was consolidating, just kind of hanging out, not really doing too much before the report. And then today with the market, sneaky sell-off that the market had, Tesla managed to go all the way to the downside. And with the earnings report, big breakout to the upside. I actually paper traded the Tesla earnings report. So I managed to get into my paper trading account a Tesla long right as that report came out. Well, okay, I won't lie to you. I got long before the market closed, so I gambled on this. And that gamble paid off. It says my return currently is only $3, but with where Tesla is, my return should be a near 100% return. And the higher Tesla goes, the more percentage return I'll be making on this paper trade. So let's go. That trade looks good at the moment. This one, it says down 1,500 today, but overall, I'm still up, what, $3,000 on this trade on the paper account. So I'm not worried about that either, okay? The paper account right now for the options trading has been banging. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Our options practice is going pretty well. But as as Benzinga is now fully loaded, locked and loaded, let's take a look at the earnings report for Tesla. Why did LCID report, or why does LCID showing up for when I search for Tesla? Come on, Benzinga. Sometimes you make me wonder, like, what the hell? All right. What happened with the report? Third quarter revenue up 8% year over year, missing the estimates, however, by slightly. Company reported automotive revenue of 20 billion, up 2% year over year in the third quarter. Tesla said revenue was impacted by growth in the car deliveries, growth by energy generation, higher Fold self-driving revenue, and lower average selling prices for cars. The automaker reported third quarter earnings per share 72%, beating the estimates of 58 cents per share. Not bad beat at all. Operating income in this quarter was a margin of 10.8. The company cost of goods sold per car was $35,000. It's its lowest ever, so that's a pretty good indication. Their cost of making a car is actually a lot lower, lowest it's ever been. Third quarter deliveries total to up 6.4% year over year and 4.3% quarter over quarter. So they're delivering more cars. That's what you always want to see. Production was up 9.1% year over year and 14.4% quarter over quarter. That's also a good thing. They're making more cars. They're also delivering more cars despite all of the what was it? I'm pretty sure I read it somewhere here already. I just can't remember it. The backlog and the inventory shortages. There you go. Inventory shortages that a lot of major automotive companies have been having, and they've been, falling back on delivering cars and actually producing more cars. So Tesla kind of stepping through that by being their own, delivery, being their own facility of everything basically, and doing a damn good job at it. Tesla produced its 7 millionth vehicle on October 22nd, after the end of the third quarter. The company said Cybertruck production increased by quite a bit, positive gross margins for the first time. Okay, not bad. Tesla reported 6.9 gigawatts of storage. I'm guessing that's what GWH is. Gigawatts of storage deployed in the third quarter, up 75% year over year. Let's go. Tesla ended third quarter with 6,706 Tesla supercharger stations, up to 20% year over year. That's all you have? That seems extremely small. I would be thinking it would be in like the 20-30,000s. That seems extremely small. But hey, they're up 20% year over year, and the superchargers being built or being placed. The company ended the third quarter with cash and cash equivalents of 33.6 billion. Tesla's balance sheet donates 183 million in digital assets, which could be included in the company's Bitcoin holdings. Okay, recent report linked Tesla's Bitcoin holdings to being moved to new wallets after the third quarter concluded on the September 30th. Okay, looks like they're going to be transferring some of the Bitcoin to different wallets. Not sure what the reason is, but hey, more power to them. What's next? Tesla said it remains on track to launch more affordable models in the first half of 2025. Tesla Semi Factories remains on track with builds to start by the end of 2025, and the company also said the company once again reiterated it is between two major growth waves of Model 3/Y platform and the next generation platform. Despite ongoing macroeconomic conditions, we expect to achieve slight growth in vehicle deliveries in 2024. The company said it remains committed to expanding its vehicle and energy production lineup despite other companies pulling back on its electrical investments. Tesla said it has sufficient liquidity to fund its product roadmap. No outlook being provided on the report, at least on the Benzinga side, so we don't know what the outlook is at the current time. But hey, with that report, everything was good except for the point that they missed revenue slight miss on revenue, but everything else was a beat. Their cost per car has been going down lower to the lowest it's ever been. I think that one key point itself, along with deliveries going up, productions going up, and all other things coming into play. Tesla not too long ago got beat down after being very bullish, so all of that coming into play, I think this consolidation breakout expansion was beautiful, and something that we can look for is a potential gap close and a pullback into 224, 225, where we can go long off of again. Or I guess it's not really a gap close, because gap closes all the way back into today's high, which is what, $218, $219. I don't think it goes all the way back there. I think 224, 225 on Tesla could easily find some support if we pull back to the downside and pre-market and open somewhere around here to like rally off of. That would be amazing. But if what I am expecting Tesla to do, if I'm going to be honest with you, is honestly Tesla is just going to rip to the north side right off the open and just kind of not stop. It's gonna go crazy. So a lot of buyers potentially were looking to buy up the stock based on the report. Anyone who maybe missed the run up originally, or even the second time, they will not try to miss this run the second time, this third time I should say, at the very least this third time. So I think any dips off of that report, just once again, I need to remind myself, and I need to remind you guys, that I am not an analyst. I'm just a day trader. So I could be wrong by saying this, but I'm expecting the stock to just rip because of those key points that at least I'm putting value to, is lower cost production number. Sorry, not cost production, but lower cost per car production number, and the higher deliveries and production numbers also. So looking good on all ends for me on Tesla. Bullish report, bullish move. Let's see if we can get the opportunity to buy the dips, if there are any dips. But knowing Tesla, there's not going to be any dips. Zilch, zero. It's just going to run tomorrow, and you're going to have to chase it. But that's not something that I would ever suggest anybody. Here is Lam Research Corporation, LRCX. Not something that I previously have traded before. It looks like the stock actually had a stock split 10-1 going into $100, so most likely $1,000 name before, now going into $100, and now hanging out right around $700 pre-split. You can see how 700 was basically what the stock's all-time high was, double top into into all-time high, broke out, came in, pulled back, found support again off of 700, and went into $1,150, where it found that resistance to the north side. Eventually the stock split came in, but look at how that 700, or you can just kind of dumb it down at this point, that $70 triple bottoming after pulling back into the previous all-time high. So that is actually a monster level over here. I wish I had kept an eye on this name before. So LRCX now triple bottoming, and on the back of a good earnings report, popping to the high side and moving higher. So this is actually a beautiful thing to see after holding a significant level like that. Now any dips, in my opinion, are just an easy buy, a no-brainer long, because the report seems to have been appreciated by the market. Let's actually go take a look at the report real quick, and maybe the report's not as good when we're reading it, which might make us be a little careful for the long. So let's go read about it. Lam Research reported 86 cents per share, beating estimates of 80 cents. Okay, barely beating it. Revenue 4.17 billion, beating by 4 billion, barely beating it, but beating it overall. It's an increase over 3.48 billion from the same period last year. So that's a pretty good beat on revenue from same period last year. Company reported gross margins of 48.2%. Let's go. Company reported at the end of the quarter increased to 2 billion compared to 1.5 billion as the end of the previous quarter. With continued strong execution, Lam delivered financial performance ahead of the expectations. Lam looking forward, etch and deposition are fundamentals to end. Okay, blah 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 blah. Outlook. Oh, did they make semiconductors? Next generation of semiconductors. Our investments in key technology and inflections positions as well outperforms WFE growth. And okay, I don't know, they make semiconductors. That's pretty cool. Lam Research sees second quarter adjusted earnings of 87 cents per share, so pretty much the same thing, plus or minus 10 cents. Quarterly revenue of 4.3 billion, same thing, plus or minus 300 million. So comparing quarter to quarter, not much growth being projected, but overall from same period last year, which is the metric that most people look at, and I love seeing gross margins of 48.2%. Let's go, baby. So looking like they're growing quite a bit on a year-to-year scale on LRCX, so that's a pretty good thing, giving it a decent bounce. I mean, this is still a bullish reaction off of a triple bottom, so at this point you are basically looking for longs on any dips. There is no shorts for me really, unless the stock maybe is overextended and one shot rips into these triple tops, which kind of is a shaky triple top. But if it's one shot into $90 right off the open, maybe it's a little overextended at that point, that you could look for an intraday short. It's also back into the 200-day moving average, which we have been kind of holding under. So if we do pop right into the 200-day moving average in one shot tomorrow right off the open, maybe there's an opportunity to look for a short. But if the stock is stuck in these ranges, ideally I want to look for dips to get long into an LRCX. So watching to see how the pre-market level set up, watching to see how the after hours level, which is right now set up. We got the after hours earning anchored VWAP coming in around $76. So I'll be watching that $76 to see if it finds any support on a pullback in pre-market, especially off the open. If we open a little bit higher but pull back after the open during regular trading hours and bounce off of 76, then that's interesting right there. That shows you that buyers who are buying today after hours are still being aggressive at the same price that their average price is, so they're looking to load up more, and in that case maybe there's an opportunity to ride the stock into $77. It has a $3 ATR with a 13 million shares of a 30-day average, so I'm expecting easy 30 million 35 million shares being traded tomorrow. A good spike in relative volume and giving us a good spike in hopefully ATR. Also expecting the top to bottom ATR tomorrow at least $5 on LRCX for us to play with. For sure on the watch list with high priority LRCX. Next one is IBM. International Business Machines. IBM one of the greatest technological feats in the world, but they would have been something completely different had they actually have said no thank you to software and just kept focusing on the hardware. You know, they said yes to software and no to only focusing on hardware, I think IBM would have been a completely different beast. At the point though, I mean, look, quantum computing is boosting the shit out of IBM. Shout out to IBM. They are killing it in the quantum computing game. Look at it on the monthly chart here. This rocket ship to the upside every single month to the north side, keeps on breaking out higher and higher. But sadly, that does not seem to be the story after hours, as the stock finally is putting in a little bit of brakes on, a little bit of brakes being put on, a little bit of Monica by my side, a little bit of Tina is all I need. Okay, so it looks like we are putting on the brakes slightly over here on IBM and getting back under $230, which is last month's low. I guess that's 230. That's 230. Okay, so we got under last month's high also, a little bit under last month's high, all the way to $214. Is this move justified, or is this just profit taking because revenue is not growing, or something along those lines? Let's go take a look at these bad boys. Total revenue increase only 1% year over year. Software revenue was up 10% year over year. Consulting and infrastructure revenue was down 7% year over year. So not looking good at all. Cash flow from operations totaled on $2.9 billion in the quarter. Free cash flow came in at $2.1 billion. Our third quarter performance was led by double-digit growth in software. So they're actually growing in software, not bad, including re-acceleration in Red Hat. We continue to see great momentum in AI as our models are trusted, fit for purpose, and lower cost. The performance leadership, our generative AI. You didn't talk about quantum computing at all. Hello? A generative AI book of business now stands more than $3 billion, up more than $1 billion quarter to quarter. IBM expects fourth quarter constant currency revenue growth of approximately 2%. The company reiterated expectations growth. Where did it go? Expectations. Wait, where did it go? IBM expects fourth quarter constant currency revenue approximately 2%. The company also reiterated expectations generating $12 billion in free cash flow for the full year 2024. Heading into the final quarter of 2024, we expect fourth quarter basketball. We expect fourth quarter constant currency revenue growth to be consistent with the third quarter. We continue strength with continued strength in software. We are confident in our ability to deliver more than $12 billion in free cash flow for the year, driven by continued expansion of our operating margins. IBM will hold conference call at 5 p.m. Sadly, looks like the downward descent in revenue. Software, I guess, is growing, but overall revenue is only growing by 1% for a stock whose year to date is insane. How much is this stock up to year to date? Let's go have a website do the math for us way easier. What the hell is that? Google IBM stock year to date. 1 year, 70% up year to date, and is only up 1% year to year on revenue. That does not look too good, does it? So nice little pullback coming in on IBM. Ooh, why did I bring that screen in? I wanted to change that to my watch list. I need my watch list back up. Thank you. So makes sense why the stock got the pullback. Now at this point, I think it's an easy under over 230. If the stock pulls back into 230, which was basically today's low, if the stock pulls back into 230 and finds some selling into 230, I think there's an easy opportunity to look for some selling for us to ride the stock back down. But look how it got bought back, right back to the north side from that 213s area. So boomer name, it's probably going to be very slow. So no real momentum trades, just slow passive opportunities on IBM. QuantumScape reporting today, popping to the high side. QS, but not any volume. Not any volume on the pop. I thought it actually made a little bit of a bigger pop. Where did we go in the after hours? We only went to 559 in the after hours. I thought it was more than that. Okay, I guess QuantumScape is nothing. Boring. Las Vegas Sands, what did you do? Nothing really. Didn't do a whole lot. And the daily chart is also not one of the most appetizing charts either. The stock also, you know, on some earnings reports it brings in volume, and some earnings report it doesn't. So do I even want to waste my time spending some energy on a name like this? Unless the stock gets like, you know, under 50 bucks and stays under 50, I almost don't really maybe want to care about a trade on LVS at all. Not even reading the earnings report, it says the stock missed on revenue, missed on EPS. It flushed a little bit and then popped back up. So at this point, I'm kind of only caring about the $50 area. Either you show me weakness below 50 or you stay above 50 and you continue to chop around in these zones, at which point I don't really care about day trading you at all. So Las Vegas Sands kind of on the shelf at the same respect that I'm going to give to QuantumScape, unless QuantumScape gets at least above $6 in pre-market and has some buying fight above $6. I almost don't care about QuantumScape at that point. So need to see the $6 barrier turning into a support. It's actually $6.20, $6.30. So I want to see the higher we can trade above $6, the more potential juice there is for us to play with. But if we're just stuck at this 550 highs, like, come on, dog, what am I doing? This is boring. This is lame. I don't care about this at that point. For a day trade, there's way better names for us to trade. Tesla most likely is going to keep all of our attention tomorrow anyways. So not gonna waste my time with QuantumScape. I'm actually going to change the color for it. I don't know why I colored it orange. I'm gonna color it blue along with LVS for now, and we can upgrade it tomorrow if they actually do some volume in the pre-market. We got John Wan in the house saying, good evening, Prad. Getting my watch list ready for tomorrow. Gave you a like. Thank you, sir. Dieter saying he had a good day, good week. Best month ever. Let's go, Dieter. Let's go, brother. That's what I like to see. Was okay thanks to Tesla. Had a long at 217, closed half. Okay, that's not bad. Let's go. That's not bad at all. I love it. So Tesla reports okay, says TH. Okay earnings, panic buying triggers, buy programs, and then we'll see. I mean, Tesla, I'm guessing TH is being bearish about Tesla. I'm guessing that's what he's trying to indicate, but for me, Tesla is pretty bullish off that report. I'm not expecting a bullish reaction. We got a bullish reaction. I'm expecting a bullish continuation. Let's see if it ends up playing that way. Obviously, if the higher it goes, the quicker it goes. The faster it goes higher, the easier it is for people to short that stock off the open for a downside move. So there are opportunities where you could look for a short on Tesla. Okay, Boeing, this is not day one, this is day two on Boeing. Bearish? Who? Me? Says TH. Well, are you being bullish about Tesla, or are you being bearish? I don't understand what you were trying to say. I was guessing you were being bearish because you're 99.99% bearish. Boeing. So not really a day one trade, and it's not something that I cared about trading anyways. Yeah, I mean, it's what, day two at this point. Let me quickly throw in the earnings anchored VWAP just so I don't miss it. It seems to be right there. So we have that mapped out. So don't really care too much. Don't really care too much to trade Boeing as a day trade, mainly because of how the daily chart looks like. You know, I need to. There's no real level to use in this chop. right? This is back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Even right now, this is back and forth. We pop up, we're going back down. Earnings report's not good enough. The strike's ending. What is more important, the strike ending or the earnings report not being good enough? Or hold up, give me a second. Let me show you something new. Now, not only are there goddamn planes crashing, Boeing built satellite explodes in space, and complete loss of product. They lose the product completely, lost billions, millions of dollars, how much ever they spent on it. Guess who's not going to look to buy Boeing satellites anymore? Especially after Boeing screwed up big time by sending 2 astronauts into space and leaving them stranded. This company is gonna get absolutely shit-faced very soon if they keep continuing this way. They are not looking good in any shape or form. The strikes, the whistleblowers getting killed, astronauts being stranded, earnings report taking a beating. I mean, you name it. There's this one after the other after another. It's like, why would I want to go long Boeing? I just don't. And at the same time, I also know that Boeing is almost too big to fail. The company is too big to fail, and eventually it'll just get, bankrolled by the government, because the government's not gonna let Boeing go to the ground. They're simply not gonna let Boeing go to the ground. The same way they're not gonna let US steels be sold to Japan. It's a great US America, yeah, for the win. We're never gonna let American history being bought out by Japan, somebody that we destroyed. So, with that type of ego on America, they're not gonna let Boeing go to the ground. So that kind of brings in a point that actually one of our good friends, Victor Investing, brings up. Go check him out. He streams Monday to Friday at 9:30 on his channel. The stock is not the company. The stock price is not the company, and the company is not the stock price. So based on what the company's doing at the moment, I would expect the stock price to get hammered down, but it just has continued respect, so I kind of just don't want to even trade it. It's just not a day trade for me, and with how opinionated I am about Boeing, it's just not something that I want to invest or trade or swing at all, because if you have that much opinion and that much of an emotional reaction as soon as you even talk about the company, just don't trade it. Just don't trade it. It's not worth it, because most of the time you're gonna make irrational decisions. You're gonna be trading off of emotions. It's never worth it for your account to trade off of emotions. So just ignore the stock. There's a million other stocks in the market for you to make money on. You don't have to trade that name at all. So I'm gonna move away from it. AT&T, surprisingly enough, holding the yesterday's low and ripping to the north side and taking out the consolidation high. So shout out to AT&T over here. The monthly chart looks horrible, the all-time chart looks horrible, but what looks great is the yearly chart, the 1-year chart, the daily chart. The daily chart looks beautiful. We got a nice breakout of the recent levels, and we closed above these levels. So I'm not saying the stock should find support above 22.30, but anywhere into today's VWAP, into this level, it says today's VWAP is actually 22. So if we actually pull back into 22, is today's VWAP actually 22? What is it? It's 22.25, it says. So if the stock actually pulls back into today's VWAP and finds support, or the earnings anchored VWAP and finds support, which is exactly the same thing, 22.25, $22 to 22.25, and finds buying above it, I am ready to look for a long on this name, because it looks like it wants to have a very good day 2 opportunity on this name, 22 to 22.20. There you go. So looking for AT&T to set up for a nice day 2 opportunity after pulling back and showing me supports. ENPH got absolutely blown out. Gave you some clean short scalps off the earnings anchored VWAP, which was exactly at $80. Off of $80, it was reserving constantly, gave you some easy money scalps to get short. Eventually that broke and the stock just went back and forth. This one will be for sure on watch for a day 2 play. How does the stock react going into today's high? Today's high was around 81.27, so not expecting the stock to get back above 80. I'll be honest with you, I want to see a seller back into 80, but realistically you want to see the stock going back into today's high, finding weakness into today's high and opportunities for you to hammer the short back below and then just ride it all the way down. So ENPH, expecting the stock to go back to 73.50 over the next week or so, and then we can see what happens. I think this easily goes back into 73.50 by next week Friday. So keep an eye on ENPH as we pop up and find potential resistances on pop-ups. GM played picture perfectly to our plan yesterday. Pulled back into don't have earnings anchor VWAP on this, really? Okay. Pulled back to earnings anchor and bounced. Actually, and then got sold also, surprisingly enough. So pulled back to earnings anchored VWAP and bounced, but then got sold a little bit more and actually bounced off of one of the levels that we have mapped out, which was that swing low into $53. Looks like that was a little bit more important level, going into 52.50, 53 area, and then bouncing back higher on GM. What is that level even? 52.40, gotcha. 52.50 would have bounced from, and that level was 52.40. Not bad, not bad at all. So GM, not as good as a day 2 play as I wanted it to, so maybe day 3 doesn't even really exist on the stock tomorrow. We'll keep a close eye on it, not really making the cut by looking at it right now. MMM, how did you trade today? Ooh, big move back down. I think I actually remember keeping an eye on MMM today. MMM, this was, whoa, where did that come from? That's not, yeah, that's gotta be oh yeah, this is the previous earnings anchor VWAP that I actually put in yesterday. I'm surprised because I usually don't use white for my past earnings report. All the past earnings reports were blue, but because I put this one yesterday, this one's white. I remember now. So the stock never really pulled back into yesterday's VWAP or earnings anchored VWAP, just found weakness right off the bat at yesterday's low. Opened a little bit higher than yesterday's low, but found selling right away, got below 130, and then never really got back above 130. Even this pullback over here into $130. Remember yesterday we said 130 under over? That pullback into 130 was easy money short. Boy, oh boy, I wish I was watching 3M at that point. Well, missed an easy money short on that 130 area on 3M. Obviously, hindsight 2020, blah, 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 blah. But we said, we called this out yesterday. If the stock actually finds selling below 130, that's an easy money short and things get weak for this position. So at this moment, still, I think you can expect a 130 pullback and look for weakness into 130. And if it does show up, you got a potential day 3 trade, and I'm putting that in quotes because this is a big move. That's a 10% move in 2 days. So monster move from I'm not gonna say all-time highs because I know it's not all-time highs. I almost said it. Monster move from the 52-week high on 3M on a negative earnings report. They did beat EPS, they did beat revenue, but they missed on growth year to year. They are missing by like what, 25% decline actually. So this is an extended move. I could see a bounce coming into play only if the stock can get above 130. If it can't get above 130, then I think we got another easy money short back into 125 for us to ride back into today's low. So let's see if we can pop into 130, find selling into 130 for us to ride the stock back down into today's low. Next stock that reports earnings actually reports tomorrow pre-market, but I don't really care to trade the stock tomorrow. I'll be honest with you, but unless it does some real volume and sets up with some big pattern, maybe I'll keep an eye on it. I am more interested to see what American Airlines does to United Airlines. If United Airlines goes into $75, $50, $75, I remember it's 75 actually. Yeah, if United Airlines goes into 75 on the back of American Airlines report and finds weakness off of 75, I want to be short. If United Airlines finds buying above 75 on the back of American Airlines report, I want to look long. So I think this is going to set up for a great opportunity with some sympathy trade on the back of LUV and on AAL's earnings report tomorrow. LUV actually setting up in a way better daily chart than American Airlines for me, so maybe this one will get a little bit more importance. However, American Airlines does a lot more volume, obviously a lot cheaper, does a lot more volume, so I know a lot of people will be attracted to American Airlines. I simply am not that attracted to a stock that, you know, could potentially do only a $1 range. Kind of boring for me. It has a 43-cent ATR. I'm not expecting it to do more than $1 tomorrow, but UAL, that gets me excited if we can find rejection at 75 or if we can find buying above 75. SAVE, potentially talking about getting bought out again from Frontier. Last time those rumors were going on, the stock was trading into what, like $16-17, and then got absolutely destroyed back. So maybe it goes back there. Let's see what happens. But today was a day one move on the rumors. Just rumors, nothing confirmed yet. UPS, another one that reports tomorrow pre-market. If I remember correctly, last earnings report, FDX got slammed back down, and the report before that, FDX was stone's throw away from all-time high. So a little bit of back and forth from previous earnings reports and the most recent earnings reports on FDX. But if you compare it to UPS, UPS has just been on a steady grind down, just south. So we'll be watching how UPS sets up over here. If it actually gets a little bit of a relief off of this new earnings reports coming out tomorrow pre-market, or if the trend continues and the stock goes right back into the 52-week low, potentially could look for a long scalp from the 52-week low if we're there on a bad earnings report. And if the stock is below the 52-week low on the earnings report, maybe some shorts to get into below that level. But you got to keep in mind, this is UPS, guys. What is UPS's PE? Like, people will be looking to buy up the stock at these prices, in my opinion. Like 120, 130, people will be looking to buy up these prices. These are discount prices for UPS. Long-term holders who believe in FedEx, who believe in UPS, anywhere from $120 to $80, in my opinion, they don't care. They'll buy up these prices. They'll eat them up. So if we actually go into 123, 120, which is the 52-week low, thinking short is a little hard. We'll be looking long, way heavier than short into these levels. So we'll be watching how the stock reacts on the earnings report. OKLO, I traded this to the short side today. Monster short today. Took this breakdown short. The intraday breakdown short also lined up with the break below today's open. So stock rallied, got rejected off of yesterday's high, pulled back under today's VWAP, rejected under today's VWAP, and then broke back under today's low, which was today's open, and then just constantly got hammered to the downside. So OKLO was a monster short. At this point, the backside on these energy names could potentially start being put in. So we are now taking out previous day's lows and actually closing around previous day's lows. At this point, under over 1750, you can see how we have these little pocket of air. I want to call it pocket of air because this is the breathing room I want to give on this name before I really look heavy short. Either go into $18.80/$19 and show me a little bit of a weakness for me to get short into, or get below $17.50 for me to just hammer the short to the downside on this energy name and have a free ride down. But anything vice versa to what I just said. If you're above 19 and holding above 19, I want to be a little careful. I want to be very careful, right? I want to be very careful if I want to think short above 19. I think actually it says yesterday's VWAP is at $20 right now on the thing, so maybe you can give it a little bit of leeway room up to $20 from 19 if you really want to give that significant even dollar price point, if you want to give it to that. But for me, anything above 19, honestly, I just want to back out from looking heavy short, because I think the stock can easily go back into today's high / yesterday's high / this day's high, which is around $23. So being very careful above 19, and then being very aggressive below $17.50. If we start holding below 19, I also want to look short and be aggressive on that short. And if we start going below $17.50, then I want to really hammer that short on OKLO. NNE kind of pulling back a lot more than OKLO, so complete reversal at this point. Last 2 days we ran up quite a bit, and then today we are completely turned back down on this name, so it's pulling back a lot quicker. SMR holding its levels kind of like OKLO. This is the name also that actually has the catalyst to begin with. This is the one that signed the deal with the devil itself, signed the deal with Amazon. So they are the ones that started the whole shebang, the whole move. Kind of the same idea as OKLO. You can see how this previous spike, which was the all-time high, is now being respected slightly as support. It's either we get below this level, which is $17, and go into $16 and find some barriers or some support, I should say. But if this 1585 16 breaks, that opens up more downside on SMR. So I'll be watching how 1585 to where am I typing? How this 1585 to 16 area plays out to the downside. For the upside, I want to watch 17 as a potential short opportunity, and then above 17, obviously you have today's level. I'm going to put 17 as an inflection level. I'll do the same thing for OKLO. Resistance 23, inflection 19. Here, I'll just show you what I'm doing. Inflection 19, resistance 23, support 1750. For SMR, I want to do resistance kind of the same price that it has been hanging out by, 20 to 2030 area to the upside, $20 to $20.30 to the upside as resistance on SMR. Orange. All right. IonQ, IONQ, a little bit of a rally on IonQ today, but then that rally got stuffed back, so change of characteristics coming into play one more time. We haven't really taken out previous day's low yet, but that's when things start getting juicy. Once we start taking out yesterday's low and today's low, right around $14. Yesterday's low $13.90, today's low $14. So if IonQ can start looking weak below $13.90 to $14, there could be an easy money short setting up, almost like that OKLO NNE, almost like that NNE coming into play. But this stock actually a real company. I want to put real in quotes, but a real company making moves off of some sort of a real news. It's not some bullshit small cap biotech company that's just squeezing and has its own agenda. It's somewhat of a legitimate move, but as all moves, they got to follow some sort of a rhyme and rhythm and have a pattern to it. This pattern screams overextended at the moment, so looking for mean reversion on IonQ. DJT, rocket ship. Someone lit the rocket and this stock is flying. This stock could easily go into $50 going into election day, which is not that far out. However, its partner in crime, PHUN, looked a little weak today. However, ended up 21%. Looked a little weak for the day trading aspect. There was a point where I was looking short on PHUN, goes right back up into the after hours. So obviously keeping these two on watch. I don't understand how PHUN and DJT are related at all. I know back in the day when DWAC used to pump up, Funware used to pump up too. I do remember they were tied up somehow together. Maybe the DWAC acquisition guys also own Funware, but that acquisition merged and that merger turned into Truth Social Media. So how does Funware get to lean off of this whole thing? I never really understood that whole aspect, and here we get it again. You're watching it take place one more time, history repeating itself, patterns taking place again and again and again. This is normal in the market. That's why you want to look back to the left. When in doubt, zoom out and look to the left and study these patterns, study these moves, and look for that history to repeat itself. Maybe not on this stock, but it'll repeat on another stock next time that you can potentially take advantage on. So Funware going up as DJT is going up. As soon as DJT starts selling off, I think Funware is the easy money short without a doubt. Philip Morris did exactly as planned. Picture perfect. As I kept saying all day yesterday and a little bit today, this is what you want to see when the stock goes into yesterday's VWAP, when it goes into earnings anchored VWAP, and so on. So yesterday's VWAP, earnings anchored VWAP, all near $129. Goes down to 129 off of the opening drive, and then instantly rips right back up. I promised you guys this would be instant, would it not? This was in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 in basically an hour. That's not a lot of time. In an hour on one of the slowest boomer goddamn slow moving names ever, you're getting a nice risk to reward opportunity to get long into. So Philip Morris played out perfectly as planned. Sadly, this one is now going to be a lower priority, but still a priority nevertheless. So as long as the stock looks strong above 130 on any pullback, I think looking long doesn't hurt. But I more so want to keep an eye on how the stock reacts going into the all-time high of $132. Either a reject of 132 to look short, or a fail break of 132 to look short, or a strength above 132 to look long. So Philip Morris day 3 play setting up. A little bit of a lower priority than most of the stocks on the board for tomorrow, but always on watch when they do something special like that. Here's Upwork. They didn't really report earnings. They report earnings in 14 days, but Upwork guided their preliminary report saying that they're going to be great. So they pulled the Tony the Tiger, and they report their Kellogg's the report, and they said they're going to be reporting a pretty good report overall. So Upwork moving to the high side off that report. So far we're getting by the rumor. We don't really know what the juice looks like until the report comes out, so we'll see if it's going to be sell the juice and buy the rumor event, or is it going to be juice the juice along with the rumor and run the stock higher when the report actually comes out. So Upwork making a little bit of a move. Doesn't hurt keeping this one on watch also. Netflix not really on watch at all as a day trade at the moment, so it's just letting it do its thing. TSM not really on the watch as a day trade either, letting it move around. Qualcomm and ARM are having a tussle. They're having a back and forth match right now. Qualcomm being denied production rights at ARM, or at least on one of their chips or something, And because of that, Qualcomm making a move to the downside, but also ARM making a move to the downside. So both of them going lower based on ARM's decision to potentially ban Qualcomm from being in their production facilities. So that catalyst has moved the semiconductor sector a little bit. Nvidia got below 140 for slightly, but then got back above 140, and then got right back below 140 also. So Nvidia moving around a little bit. SMCI still struggling near $50. It doesn't really even get to 50 today, but still struggling near $50. And the 10K filing is something that we want to still watch for. The 10K filing doesn't come out yet, does not mean that, the 10K filing doesn't come out yet, then it means it's an automatic short as a day trade until that comes out on every pop, in my opinion, as long as that seller in 50 continues forcing the stock lower. Going through the watch list over here, Drug had a filing today of some sort. Let's actually head over to, what is it? Nathan. Where's Nathan? Nathan, drug. There we go. So he posted 0.72, 9.7%. How nice. October 16th, reporting 7 days later, T+1 and weekend. Okay, Perceptive Advisors also hold 9% stake. I am not a fund guru, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about anything, all that. So basically, this is... Flashbang, holy crap. Okay, so this is basically reporting that they own shares. 0.72 Capital Advisors own shares of Bright Minds, whatever. Bright Minds Biosciences. Who's Mr. Cohen? Oh, Mr. Cohen is the guy from 0.72 Asset Management. Gotcha. Common shares without par value. All right. Usually, hedge funds and real companies don't, partake in these bullshit companies. They don't partake in these bullshit companies that randomly pop up and have a small cap, that don't have a small market cap, have a small float in general, don't really have any products behind them of any sorts. Normal people, hedge funds, don't like to be involved in these games unless they're trying to pump and dump on people. So the fact that we actually have a decent hedge fund, let's actually see what else do they own. 0.72 investments. What the fuck does 0.72 hold? Apple, Dell, ConocoPhillips, Comcast, Teradyne, Global Payments, Autodesk, Thermo Fisher, another company that actually reported today pre-market or tomorrow, sorry, today after hours or tomorrow pre-market, but usually don't really trade them. Humana, this is their whole... Okay, there we go. We got more over here. Maybe they're not holding it still. Current shares. Okay, they are holding it. So they got a bunch of stocks. Okay. Wait, why isn't Apple here? So these are just top increases in this quarter. Top decreases: IWM, Microsoft, AVGO, AT&T, the Boeing Company. Why does it say KZ? Okay, maybe they closed it. Does not really show shares or value. A lot of them show zero. Google, Alphabet, Exxon, Edwards, FedEx, Norfolk, and obviously they own a lot of companies over here. This is the new ones, I guess, that they're reporting. Drug and a bunch of other companies. So usually you don't see companies like these buying up names like this. So this is everything that they own, I'm guessing, right here. Jesus Christ. That's a lot. That's a lot. So usually you don't see companies like these investing in a name like DRUG. So maybe we need to do a little bit more research about DRUG to begin with. What exactly do they do? What do they make? Do they have a real product? And if so, this stock with such a low float that it has, you know, didn't we just see the flow? It's like 3 million with such a low float. Seeing a big company like this own 9% might just squeeze the fuck out of the stock to the north side, like $30-$40 to the upside tomorrow. So I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it might happen. Okay, this stock is giving me a lot of HKD vibes at the moment. Only 3 million shares available. People are gonna FOMO and you know, fight for the shares, in my opinion, and this might just get some insane ramp, or we find out all of a sudden that they are dumping this position. So I don't know, man. I don't know. They are showing that they are owning the position at the moment. So that's a pretty big change of heart for me on this company. So DRUG went from being a shit stock for me to potentially being one of the more crazy stocks to keep an eye on. More crazier stocks to be an eye on. When do they do a stock offering? When do they do a stock offering? That's going to be important. Besides this, you do have other names like Apple, Google, Microsoft, all of which moved around today, mainly because the market had somewhat of a slowed grind down throughout the day. Market just trickled slowly to the downside. So all positions did move back down. Apple was one of them. Microsoft, Meta was a big one. Meta finally breaking down to the south side. Man, that 580 short today would have been so good. I was trying to short that 580 in the middle of the day off of VWAP, but I never got filled and it just slammed down. I could have chased that entry a little bit, but I didn't want to chase that entry, so I stayed away from it. And Meta gave you a monster $20 short from that level. Boy, oh boy, that would have been crazy to catch that, but sadly did not get any fills on that one. But now it gets pretty obvious. Now any pops on Meta, as long as the market stays weak, could be looked to short on META. Rest of the sector is also pulling down, but most of my attention span is going to be on the one that reported earnings and the one that does usually some of the craziest moves in the market, Nvidia. So watching Nvidia, watching Tesla in the large cap basket. If some of the other regular names like Apple, Microsoft, Google set up for some sort of a clean 5-minute pattern, the market's breaking the low a day, and these stocks look like they could break the low a day and go down a little bit more for me to take easy money trades on, then yeah, I'll take those layups. But if it's not giving me a layup, I'm not even gonna bother with it. I'd much rather try to work into a trade on Tesla and battle Tesla instead of battling Apple when Apple doesn't even have a catalyst, right? Makes sense? Trading the stocks that are in play, in freaking play. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is basically all she wrote for today's watch list. Wow, surprisingly right on time, exactly at 9 p.m. We do have a stock that I'm forgetting to add to the watch list, so let me put that one right at the top of the watch list. This one's going to be more important than Tesla tomorrow. INGM. Ingram Micro Holdings Corporation. IPO's 24th of October. with $500 million offer amount, IPOing between $20 to $23, with 18.6 million shares being offered to the public, and the offer amount apparently $491 million. So let's just say $500 million being expected for the offer amount. What does stock analysis say? Sometimes stock analysis gets it wrong. What did they say? They're saying 400 million, so almost 100 million lower than what Nasdaq is saying, but they did get shares offered and the price range exactly right. Ingram Micro is a leading solutions provider for the global information technology ecosystem, helping power the world's leading technology brands. You got 24,150 employees. You've been founded in 1979. Paul Bay is the CEO. Address in Irvine, California, United States. Okay. Through our global reach and broad portfolio of products, professional services offering, software, cloud, and digital solutions, we remove complexity and maximize the value of our technology products our partners make, sell, or use, providing the world more ways to realize the promise of technology. This doesn't give any fucking clue as to what the company actually does. No clue what the company actually does. Stupid. Specializes in providing a range of solutions of business. It primarily operates in the business-to-business sector, focusing on enhancing customer experience through innovative platforms and services. Technology distribution. Ingram Microchip applies a variety of over 150 vendors, serving more than 161,000 customers worldwide. X Advantage platform, the AI and machine learning powered platform, allows business to manage their operations efficiently, offering personalized insights to streamline process. Partner ecosystem, the company encourages partnership to enhance technology business growth. How big is the company? $48 billion in 2023 is not bad. The company operates in about 200 countries, serving a diverse clientele that serves over, okay, we kind of saw that number already, headquartered in California, USA. We got a feeling that it's going to be a wonderful day. Now I gotta sing the whole American Dad. Boy, it's fun to say good morning, USA. This is what autism looks like, guys. Okay, this is what autism on a spectrum looks like. I'm 100% on a spectrum. As soon as I have a little bit of a song playing in my head, I have to play the snippet out through my head. I just have to. It's like a fucking disease I have, man. I have to. All right. Ingram, however, does not look like they're actually growing year to year. Decline of revenue of 5% year to year. They make buggy wipes out of their garage. What? Okay. So overall, they're not actually growing year to year. Not a good thing that you want to see for a company who's been existing since what, 1979. So not a good thing. But hey, we'll see how the IPO sets up. I think for the most part, it's just going to be it's not for the most part. It is going to be look to see how the stock reacts on dips and so on. Looks like the stock actually has a PE, so they make money. $15 PE, 1546 PE. Shares outstanding 235 million. Market cap 5 billion. That's not bad. Market cap 5 billion. EV earnings 1530. Return on invested capital 13%, return on equity 9%, have paid 165 million in taxes, gross margin 7%, operating margin 1%, profit margin less than 1%. In the last 12 months, cash flow 43.97 million, capital expenditures 94.34 million, giving a free cash flow of 138.31 million. Company has 928.76 million in cash and 874 million in debt, giving it 0.23 per share. balance sheet. In the last 12 months, the revenue was 47.82 billion. That's billion with a B. Not bad at all. And they're only 1 billion in debt, and they already have that much in cash already, so that's pretty good. Out of the 47.82 billion, they only earned, however, 327 million in profit, so about $1.39 in profit. Where's that money going? Where's that money disappearing off to? So clearly not growing at the moment. So that's the main thing that I would like to take a look at. I think we saw it right here, down 5.8%. They are also declining going into the next quarter the next year report that we're going to potentially see at the end of this quarter. So not looking good on Ingram. So overall, my bias sentiment, the higher the stock opens at 30, 35, 40, the higher the stock opens up at, the easier it is going to be for me to short it. And the lower it opens at, the more easier it's going to be for me to long, especially if it opens up right into 25, drops into 23 to $20 range. It's a no-brainer long for me into this price. But if it opens up at 30, 35, goes to 37, shorting 37 for a move back to 35 and a break below 35 to close under 30 or close at 30, that's a setup that I would be looking for on the stock. So IPO on watch tomorrow. Here is your economic calendar for tomorrow. The main thing that we are going to be looking out for will be the initial jobless claims at 8:30. This is a number that market moves off of usually. We also know that the FOMC committee, whose job is to fight inflation, they're going to be looking at this number pretty closely also. So watching how the 8:30 number, the initial jobless claims, moves the market, that might dictate the tone for the rest of the day. We do have a couple other things coming throughout the day, but mostly not as important as the initial jobless claims in my opinion. Couple other things over here, you guys can take a quick look at it. New home sales, natural gas storage number, 4-week bill auction, 8-week bill auction, 5-year tips, Fed's balance sheet, that's after the close actually, S&P 500 global US manufacturing PMI. That one obviously PMI will be a little bit important. So 9:45 and 8:30 are going to be your main numbers where market is going to sway off of. If you guys remember me talking about the software yesterday, I actually got a small cap trade off of this software yesterday. A really good software, man. I'm telling you, this company knows what they're doing when it comes to small cap. It was built mainly for small caps. It will show you how to scan for small caps to begin with. And then when you find the small cap that you want to trade, you just go crazy. So here's VRAX. That's the one that I found on the scanner today. Then I pulled up the stock's sentiment, VRAX. What does the stock do in the past? How did it trade in the past? And does it usually sell off after the pre-market run up, or does it actually keep ripping higher and higher? So after doing a little bit of research, I'm trying to pull up my chart here for you guys. There you go. There is my chart. After doing a little bit of research on the stock, looks like it has had a lot of history, right? It usually ends red after it gaps up. Only one instance, and that too in recent history in 2024, where the stock gapped up and actually closed green. Surprise, surprise, right? So pretty rare that the stock closes green. Most of the time sells off, and it has a pretty big sell-off most of the time. So looking at the gap day, which was today was the day one of the gap. Looking at the gap day history, looks like the stock tops out right going into the open and then sells off after the open. So if that's the case, I want to be involved in this trade. I want to be looking for that short opportunity right as the stock is finding weakness after opening and struggling around the pre-market highs. I got a little bit shaken out over here, but then I added that size right back. I added more size as we take out the $3 area. Initially, we go back and forth to $3 area a little bit right above VWAP, but then we break the $3 one more time. So I add more size on the break of that 3. Then we go back back and forth in front of 3 and then 275 a little bit, but then that breaks too, so I add more size looking for the dream move, because the study, the analysis says that the stock actually closes back into pre-market lows or closes at the low a day based on statistical history. So here was the most recent gap up. The stock gapped up drastically in the pre-market, kind of like what it did today in the pre-market. So here is VRAX. Go to the 5-minute chart. Gapped up in the pre-market. Sorry, it runs up in the pre-market, kind of like what it did not too long ago on the 9th of 16th of today's is October 10th. If October is 10th, then September should be 9th, right? So 16th of September, the stock started running up in the after hours with a lot of volume, kind of like what it was doing today, running up in the pre-market, I should say, sorry, with a lot of volume. And then right after it runs up, it stalls out and then basically creates the high right at today's open and right at those pre-market levels. What does the stock do today? Right at the open and right at those pre-market levels, the stock tops out and never really has any buying power above it, staying power above it, and then it gets slammed back down. So I was looking for something like a big move like that. However, the stock actually found a stall out level into $2.50. Never really got too much below $2.50. So in my opinion, there could be some shorts still trapped here, and we get an even bigger move. So maybe VRAX setting for a monster day 2 opportunity, and based on day 2, looks like VRAX actually traps some people on day 2 and then flushes it later. So got to be a little bit careful over here. Looks like, let's look at the most recent day 2 here. That is not the most recent day 2. That is the most recent day 2. So here we go. Looks like it actually breaks previous day's low, gets back above the previous day's low, also gets back above that day's VWAP, and then starts rallying all day going to the high side. So that could be a trade to keep an eye on, right? Let's see if the stock actually gets below today's low, which is 235. Maybe I should put this on my watch list. Maybe I should put this on my goddamn watch list. Only if volume is there, okay? So if the stock is getting below today's low, which is what, 235, if it gets below today's low and then reclaims today's low like it did on the most recent day 2, then looking for the long on the reclamation, is that the right word? On the reclamation of the 235 area will give you some sort of a easy money long into $3, into $3.60. That's almost $1 right there, right? So I want to see if that opportunity sets up on VRAX, but thankfully I only caught that trade thanks to the help of this amazing company called Flash Research. So this company does all the research that you want to do. And if you don't know how to do this research, you keep track of all of these gappers, sellers, and all the information. You keep track of this information on a constant basis. And then you have a backlog of it. But you know how much work that is? Going back and undoing it for every single stock that basically that gapped up today. You have to go back and track all of these. That's a lot of work. Instead, you have Flash Research that basically shows you how many stocks are gapping up on the day. What is the volume like on the day for the gappers? What is the dollar volume like on the gappers? When was the last gap? What was the most recent gap? And then you can also pull up specific stocks data. How do they react based on history? For someone like VRAX, they usually sell off, and what did they do today? They sold off. So using the data like this to support your theory will give you extra confidence, extra strength to really add size to the trade. And then from there you just have the basic chart patterns. Is the stock rejecting pre-market highs? Is the stock rejecting VWAP? Is the stock giving you some sort of a 5-minute bear flag to get short into? So then you just start using these simple patterns to trade off of and make decisions off of. But this will give you that extra confidence, extra oomph, extra juice that you might need to trade. So go check out Flash Research. I actually should have an affiliate sponsor link somewhere here. Let me try to get that affiliate sponsor link. Can I customize this? I can't. So let me get that affiliate sponsor link for you guys. Paste it in the chat. I'll also automate that affiliate sponsor link to the point where it is in Streamlabs and on my link tree. So I will make sure that these show up. Go check out my link tree if you haven't. You will see my other 3 affiliate sponsors, the only softwares that I use every single day. Those are the only ones that I will have as a sponsor. If I don't use one of these softwares, I will not take on the sponsorship because I don't want that money grab, right? I'm not here for a money grab. I'm here to actually trade and potentially teach other people how to trade too. But I need to learn how to do that first. So I'm not here for a money grab. I only talk about softwares that I use. And because of this software, I was able to capture a monster trade today. Shorted 350, basically covered 250. $1 per share on a $3 stock. Come on now. Come on now. My risk was so tight. I pyramided into the position. I was expecting 160. I'll be honest with you. I was expecting 160 to come into play. It never did, but imagine 160 came into play and I had basically my average price was $3 and I was willing to hold the whole size from $3 to 160. That would have been a monster trade for me. Sadly, didn't end up like that. But very, very interesting how the software is setting up. I'm a big fan of the software and I'm going to continue using it, continue learning from it, and potentially becoming the big small cap god and making some of the money that some of the money that these small cap guys on Twitter, on X.com I should say, have been making. The small cap people are making way too much money and they're making me jealous. So I need to catch on. I need to start doing that now. I need to start trading those markets. But ladies and gentlemen, that's basically all she wrote. Hopefully you guys are ready for all the fun tomorrow that Tesla and some of the other names we talked about today are going to provide us with. If you're not, then get to work. Do some homework right now. Go find some charts. Go find some levels. Go do the homework. And then slam them tomorrow when those opportunities show up. That's it for your boy TraderPrad. I will see you guys tomorrow, Thursday, for the final stream of this episode. I do not have a guest for this Sunday, so I might not have a Sunday episode. Just going to let you guys know, I might not have a Sunday episode. I will confirm that tomorrow. I will confirm tomorrow if I will or will not have a Sunday episode. I will try to get a famous psychologist on for my Sunday episode. You know what? Actually, no, I will not have a Sunday episode at all. I forgot. I have family things to do. I have family things to do this Sunday. I'm very busy this weekend, actually. The 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd. What do I even have to do on the 3rd? I know I have something to do on the 3rd, but I'm packed this weekend. So sadly, nothing that I can do for you guys. I'll see you guys Monday. So thank you for coming. TraderPrad out. Good luck on the markets. Adios. NVIDIA and other positions too, all across the board. Magnificent 7 also had a pretty good day on themselves today, so pretty good moves across the board. Tech basket get destroyed. Get ready for trade off of. Get ready for the watch list for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna bring in my big screen over here, back to another brand new week of After the After Hours with your host TraderPrad. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day, so let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow, as you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors, Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, Trader
month, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out. Adios.